It's a real pleasure to be here this morning. It's good also to see so many other friends from this region and with an interest in the Caspian. For over 30 years, the United States has been a consistent advocate for the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the states that emerged from the breakup of the former Soviet Union, including in Central Asia. And if the repetition of those principles may have seemed tired in years past, today we can see that they were not empty words. Principles matter. And at no time in the last 30 years have these principles been more directly under threat than today in Ukraine. Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine is a flagrant violation of the UN Charter that undermines global order, peace, and security, and certainly contrary to US national security and foreign policy interests. And this war of aggression in Ukraine has profound implications for this region. It has led to economic disruptions, migration to Central Asia and other countries from Russia, and undermined regional security more broadly. And so that is why the United States is standing with these states, just as we have over the last 30 years, to put principles into practice across a broad range of our shared and mutual interests. On the economic front, the United States is committing to working on strengthening Central Asia's economic independence, boosting its economic prosperity, helping to diversify its economic partnerships, and reliably connecting it to global markets for the prosperity of all of our peoples. And we believe that the best way to advance our shared goal to realize a stable and prosperous Central Asia is to cultivate the institutions of an open society, the rule of law, vibrant civil society, respect for human rights, and an independent press. We support the reform agendas underway, which aim to create more accountable democratic governance, including in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, and we are prepared to assist with the implementation of these reforms. We are also cooperating closely with Central Asia on security to ensure that Afghanistan does not yet again become a source of threats to regional stability and security, or to our homeland here, or to our allies. Times of change and uncertainty also create opportunities, and we see this moment as a time to strengthen our relations with this important region. Let me say a little bit about sanctions, as I know these have also had an acute impact on the region. The United States and our allies and partners around the world imposed sanctions on Russia, as we said we would before this war started, but when it became clear that Moscow intended to launch this invasion. And this was done so to constrain its ability to prosecute this unjust and unprincipled war in Ukraine. And the United States and our partner governments remain relentlessly focused on restricting Russia's access to key technologies that fuel this brutality in Ukraine. And we should say that we won't hesitate to move against entities, no matter which country they're from, that help Russia wage this war or help it circumvent these sanctions. And so while we appreciate the complexities and historical interconnectivity that comes from bordering nations, we hope to see that all states and jurisdictions and economies take active steps to protect themselves and their banking sectors from being used for evasion and backfill activity. At the same time, we're committed to taking steps whenever possible to mitigate the impact of these measures on our partners. And this has been the case in Central Asia, where we've had constructive technical consultations aimed at assisting governments in their efforts to prevent their territory from being used, often unwittingly, to abet Russia's war against Ukraine. Central Asia has always been a crossroads, and the United States recognizes the important contributions that the region can make to many global priorities, such as energy security, food security, and regional stability. Others recognize this centrality as well. Just last week, we saw an in-person meeting of the Central Asia heads of state with President Xi in a format mirroring our own successful and long-standing regional diplomatic format, the C5+1. In that format and the C5+1's associated working groups, we are together finding concrete solutions to the most pressing challenges facing Central Asia and the United States. The ministerial of the C5+1 in Astana this February tackled concrete ways we can work together to mitigate the impact of the current global economic crisis on energy prices, food prices, migration, limited export routes, debt management, and unemployment, and how we can work together to support improved border security and counterterrorism cooperation. This underscores the U.S. approach to Central Asia, not diktats, but partnership with fully sovereign states. And while we do not share a common border with our partners in Central Asia, we do share a common hope for a secure, prosperous, and independent region in which all are able to contribute and benefit. And we are committed to helping each country in Central Asia act in its own interests. We have a desire to foster closer people-to-people and cultural ties, and we seek to help the region reduce its financial and other dependencies on larger states. Looking forward, we see many opportunities for the United States to continue to deepen our partnerships with the countries of Central Asia, and I'll cite just a few examples here. First of all, U.S. companies bring unrivaled experience and technology that can be leveraged to build prosperity and foster greater efficiencies and development. We hope to see even more U.S. direct investment in Central Asia in energy, agriculture, environment, tourism, health, educational sectors, and others. And climate change and its associated environmental impacts are affecting us all. And the United States seeks to broaden cooperation with Central Asia on progress towards sustainable development goals, as well as an energy transition, greater energy security, and the abatement of environmental threats. Third, we continue to expand our English language and cultural outreach, including through the return of the Peace Corps to several Central Asian countries, promoting professional training opportunities, and this with the aim of helping to build a workforce and population that is prepared to leverage a host of employment opportunities, as well as more easily gain access to a broad range and sources of information. I know that Acting Das Stimler and Das Lockman will expand on these and other issues in their own remarks, so I won't go further. But all the states in this region, while facing very real challenges, also possess enormous potential, particularly in their human capital of young, entrepreneurial populations. The United States looks forward to working with each one of them to realize this potential. Thank you.